Hi, friends. Good evening and welcome to Moonshot Conversations with my dear friend and partner, Lina Asher. So, Lina, you have reached Melbourne, your home. How does it feel, Lina?
Finally reached Melbourne. These are the moments when it really, really hits you that the thing that I think anybody should value above anything else is connection and family.
Absolutely.
Not seeing my brothers for a year and a half, it was just so emotional. Um, it was just such a great reunion, and it's just such a great feeling to be here.
Fantastic. Lina, a lot of people have been asking me about how you coped up with the 14 days of isolation in quarantine, although it was Sydney.
Forget me. My father was quarantined in the room next door. Imagine knowing your father is right next door, but you can't meet. Other than knock on the wall, you can't actually even see each other. So I think a lot of what we've done through Moonshot Conversations has really helped me. I remember the one that we spoke about, the power of words. And, if I use the word coping or isolation or feeling trapped in my head, then that's the sort of energy I start, generating. Or if I use the word time for reflection, solitude, contemplation, and I use those kinds of words in my head, they carry a very, very different energy charge, emotional charge. So, like we say, that we get to choose our words, we get to choose our perception, we get to choose our story. And, I could have seen this time as a time of loneliness or a time to get through some of our projects, to meditate. And, thanks to my yoga teacher, Fazla, I got an hour of stretching every day. So I went in emotionally and mentally prepared, with my speaker, with my yoga mat, with reading material, and started writing a book. So it was quite a breeze.
Wow, the way you explained it, I guess a lot of people are just going to be self quarantine themselves to enjoy the way you did. So we have been joined by Vinita Melwani and a lot of other people, also Amara Habib and Vinita Melwani. Thank you so much. That is so thoughtful of you. Wishing you also a very happy Easter and a happy Easter to the whole world, to the entire audience, to you, Lina, to every one of us. Wishing a very very happy Easter. So, Lina, I loved the episode on love languages that we did last Sunday. And while it was less intense than some of the other conversations we have had, it was really very interesting, engaging, and useful, Lina. So, today we have another less intense conversation, the science of humor and laughing.
Well, while we might be talking about laughing and humor, I don't know if you've heard of this phrase, Agnala Rajesh, that laughter is no joke.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, well, that's because, laughter is actually a very serious, scientifically studied subject, and it's a topic of a lot of research. The kind of magnificent things we know about laughter is that 20
Yes.
minutes of laughter can is better than 20 minutes of exercise for the reducing your stress. Can you imagine that? And according to a university in California, 1 minute of anger can weaken your immune system by 5 hours. On the
Wow.
other hand, 1 minute of laughter can strengthen your immune system by 24 hours.
Oh, wow. So, laughter really is no joke, especially at a time when we all want our immune system strengthened.
Yes, I believe you're sort of going back into lockdown. So, yes, we all want stronger immune systems. So, research shows when you laugh, you increase a lot of antibodies,
Yes.
the release of a lot of antibodies, and also a release of natural killer cells. What natural killer cells are cells that will attack other infected cells.
Mhm.
And if you have tumor cells, they attack tumor cells in your body as well. And this measurement is taken when subjects are watching a horror or an action movie with with no release, and compared to when they're watching a humor video. So when they watch comedy
Mhm.
and laugh, these positive effects are immediate and continue the next day as well.
Fantastic. That's an amazing fact that laughter increases your immunity. We all know that we all love a good laugh, that it feels good, that it increases your immunity. And just knowing this is so amazing, Lina.
So, while I was doing the research, I came across a book written by a guy called Norman Cousins, and it's
Mhm.
called Anatomy of an Illness. And in the book, he describes a rare condition that he has. and he's told by his doctor that he's going to die soon. But instead of accepting death, he goes home and he laughs his way back to health and life.
Wow. How did Norman Cousins laugh his way back to health, Lena?
So it's incredible. He got a movie projector and a
Mhm.
pile of funny movies, and he spent a great deal of time just watching these movies and laughing. And while it cannot be scientifically proven that this is what gave him an additional 26 years of his life, just imagine he's told one day that he's at death's door, and he lives 26 years more. And it's very interesting reading when you think about it.
Sure, we may not be able to scientifically prove that laughter cured Norman, but what scientists are sure of is that laughter improves your immunity. That is enough for me, Lena. So that is enough for me to know and that it works. So when they say laughter is the best medicine, is it really so?
So people who invest in laughing, Agnella Rajesh, are naturally more positive and statistically actually even live longer. So not only that, but when we laugh, we relax. When we relax, it helps us in our learning. And also, when we laugh, we release endorphins, and endorphins are the natural painkiller of the body. So when we laugh, we also release serotonin. Serotonin is known as our happy hormone. And serotonin actually helps us modulate our mood. It helps us in cognition. It helps our brain. It helps learning. It helps memory and numerous physiological processes in our body.
I remember us talking about the role of serotonin on as one of the neurotransmitters. We have done so many of these shows on Moonshot Conversations that I can't remember which one, Lena. Maybe I need some laughter to release some serotonin to improve my memory and cognition. Uh, Lena, I remember when my children were babies, sometimes when they smiled or looked like they were about to laugh, we would not be sure if they found something amusing or was it just gas. So I want to ask you, Lina, is laughing inborn or is it learned?
So laughing is inborn. It's instinctual. It's primal. It's our first way of communicating. Babies laugh long before they speak. We all know that, and no one needs to teach you how to laugh.
Mhm.
In fact, deaf people laugh, even though they've never heard the sound of laughter. Humans historically laughed way before they learned to talk. I'm talking about as a species.
So are human beings the only animals that laugh, Lina?
No, interestingly, and I never ever thought of it like this, there's several animals that not just have the vocalization that sounds similar to human laughter, but they actually laugh. So a large proportion of these animals are primates. And this kind of tells scientists that neural function evolved early in the whole mammalian development process. So all types of monkeys show this laughter-like vocalization, especially in response to wrestling, playing, or tickling, just like a child would. And humans and monkeys share similar ticklish areas of the body. And something I found fascinating is rats and monkeys love being tickled.
Oh, so if laughter exists in monkeys, then it possibly evolved before the humans existed, Lina?
So I'm not sure about that, but logic would say that that's what you're saying is a possibility. Interestingly, what I found is that rats laugh, and the rats who laugh the most tend to spend time with other rats who laugh, very much like us humans. And the difference between rats and humans is, unlike humans, there is no decrease in the tendency to laugh as rats get older.
Oh, so which means you are suggesting that as humans age, we laugh less.
Yes, we do. I mean, babies have the vocal ability to laugh when they're 17 days old.
Okay.
On average, it's found that babies laugh 300 times a day, and adults only an average of 25 times a day.
Oh, which means from childhood to adulthood, somewhere we lost 275 laughs a day.
Good maths, Agnella Rajesh. Yes, and it has been studied that rats don't lose their laughs as they grow older. So the other animals that laugh are dogs and dolphins. I think, thanks to the complexities of modern day life and the stress that we human beings kind of face, and we we imagine in our heads also, it's probably the primary obstacle why human beings start laughing less as they grow older. In losing 275 laughs a day, as you said, we
Mhm.
also lose the protective qualities that this laughter provides us. Managing stress, developing resilience, and being in a general state of happy. Happiness and humor improve brain function. They support existing neurons and their connectivity, and also encourage the growth of new neurons and synapses.
Wow. So, friends, given the fact that we have spoken about the neuroplasticity of the brain, we should bring as much humor and laughter into our lifetime experiences as much as possible.
We should. So, the medicinal value of a good laugh also extends to an aerobic workout, because imagine when you laugh, your diaphragm, kind of gets a workout, and you increase your body's ability to use oxygen. The guy I spoke about earlier, Norman, wrote in his book, Anatomy of an Illness, that the laughter alleviated his actual physical pain. So a lot of medicinal staff today use humor as a part of, their treatment and therapy.
Wow. So, Lina, we have been joined with so many interesting friends of ours who are online, and they are commenting. A lot of people saying good evening. We have got Vinita Melwani, we have got Ruchi Kapoor, we have got Nitin Munot, we have got Nainas, we have got Divya Punjabi, Sangeeta Pardesi, Deepa Bhushan, all of them interacting with us. But, friends, if you really want to enjoy this conversation, either post a joke which can give laughter to the audience, and even we can enjoy the joke live on screen along with your company, or you can ask us questions related to the current topic. And the current topic is all about laughter, something that we really need to boost up our immunity and challenge the current times and the current situations. Shakuntala has also joined us just now. So, Lena, the medicinal value of humor and laughter is great. But I guess the greatest benefit of laughter is that it is free and has no known negative side effects.
Absolutely. So why not all of us laugh more? So a lot of studies, as we've spoken about, have demonstrated the beneficial effects of laughter. Even laughing through a humorous film kind of elevates your pain threshold, as Norman told us, and can help break the cycle, between pain, sleep loss, depression, immunosuppression. Actually, laughter actually lowers our blood pressure. It increases glucose tolerance. Laughter also assists us in the recovery and prevention of cancer, because because, as I said, it increases that natural killer cell activity, and it improves the defense against respiratory infections. So this is a time when we really, really should be laughing a lot. Humor and laughter, as I said, produce a discharge of endorphins. Not only is that a pain a suppressant, but it also has euphoric and calming effects.
Wow. So one way to laugh is to have witty friends like me, Lena. I sure you agree to that. Another is to watch funny movies and TV shows like Friends and The Big Bang Theory, or watch up stand-up comedians like Russell Peters, or comedian Kathy Buckley, who you have interviewed for the Corroboree platform.
Yes, you can also try laughter yoga. I'm not sure if Fazla is watching, my yoga teacher, but laughter yoga, which is a contemporary technique that that's developed in India, and it encourages people who are doing the yoga, the participants, to mimic the act of laughing, with the goal of achieving positive psychological outcomes, just the same as watching a movie. The results have shown significant improvements in positive emotions, in reduction in severity of symptoms such as stress, reduced anxiety, and improved quality of sleep, especially in patients who are suffering from Parkinson's disease.
Fantastic, Lena. There is Josna who says Hasya Asana. So Hasya Asana is something, asana means what you do in yoga. Friends, Lena fortunately does not know too much of Hindi. So it's better that I read and translate to her. So that's a very good comment, Josna. We have been joined by Ramesh also, Amol Patil, who's wishing us good evening. There is Sangeeta Pardesi who's saying, laughing with friends is the best medicine for us. I absolutely agree with you, Mrs. Pardesi. And Shakuntala says that laughter clubs are so popular these days. In fact, you have got morning laughter clubs all around the city of Mumbai, and I'm sure across the country and across the world that people use it as a laughter therapy, and where they get on together as a group and they enjoy that time in the morning. So, Lena, back to our conversation. So, like with laughter yoga, you can laugh for no reason at all, and
Yes.
and it still has all the protective benefits.
Yes, just laughed in front of a mirror for no reason at all, even when you're all by yourself.
Wow. I love hanging out with people who make me laugh and laugh at my jokes, however funny or not funny my jokes may be, Lena.
So it's great to hang with friends, who appreciate humor in social situations. It's found that laughter strengthens interpersonal relationships, promotes group bonding, it facilitates teamwork and cooperation, and it diffuses conflict. If used appropriately, Agnila Rajesh, humor can convey a sense of humanity, overcome barriers, build trust, and encourage empathy. If you laugh when experiencing a negative experience, it's found that humor will help your mind place a less threatening perception on whatever you're facing without negating the experience.
Wow, this means if we laugh at traumatic events in our life, we don't ignore them, but we will
Yeah.
be able to endure them more comfortably and more easily.
Absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why we found through this pandemic, people have been creating and sharing humorous images, videos, and jokes. And these have literally gone viral. And I'm going to tell you one now. Have you heard this one? And I'm sure it's because it's the most common one. Never in my life would I imagine that my hands would consume more alcohol than my mouth. So obviously it's people are finding that turning to humor during times of challenge is a coping mechanism, and it helps you balance depression and hopelessness.
Wow, so I can see the logic in that. So, do you know that Rajnikant got the coronavirus and the virus had to quarantine for 14 days, Lena? That's a
Yes.
common one doing the rounds. Uh, Lena, humor is such a universal phenomenon. So, why does human exist at all? Why does the humor exist at all? And why is it meaningful from a evolutionary point of view?
So laughter holds so much of scientific interest that there's a university professor called Provine who has written an entire book called Laughter, a Scientific Investigation. So from an evolutionary perspective, it is thought that laughter was a signal that everything is okay. So you know about the fight and flight response and the amygdala. And so if we see a tiger, we have an amygdala hijack. So we get this release and a fight or flight response. So say you were, you were a caveman and you're looking at a bush. And if a tiger came out, not so funny. You're not going to laugh, right? Your amygdala is going to go off. But if a bird flew off, you would laugh to signal that all is well. And when you did this, laughter actually calms down your amygdala, which is the fear center of your brain.
Oh, awesome. That's interesting. Nitin Munoz has a question where he's asking, how do we think of laughter in a serious situation? And I would like to ask, adjoining to his question, is there a formula to creating a great joke, Lena?
So, not that I know of a specific formula, but there are theories around it, right? Basically, laughter happens when you surprise the brain. So, one theory is known as the violation benign theory. It's like when I'm with my little nephew, who's 2 years old, and I'm going and then I go oh, and and then he laughs because he realizes that he was about to get scared, and then it was benign. Everything is okay, and that kind of creates the laugh, makes him laugh. So we see that in kids very often. Violation means something goes wrong. So you're expecting something to go wrong, you're expecting this fear, and then everything's okay. It's benign, so we laugh. It's like if you've seen Mr. Bean or any of these slapsticks where people are falling down, bumping their noses, and then it's they get up and everything's okay, and then it creates that sense of laughter. It's how tickling and laughter is explained, because being touched by someone is a violation, but then it's harmless, it's benign, it's non-threatening, which is why we laugh.
Would it not be just, would it not be that just some parts of our body are sensitive?
That's how I initially would have thought of it, right? Till I did the research. But the research says it so correctly. Try tickling yourself. You can't, because you can't violate yourself, right? Your body is never going to feel, you're not going to ever fear violation of the self. And you can't tickle yourself. So it kind of seems right.
Oh, wow. Never really thought about that, Leena. But I would just like to say what Ramesh Kelgari has posted as a joke. If the number of COVID positive cases keep rising this way, very soon the ones testing negative will have to be quarantined. Well, Ramesh, that's a very interesting one and absolutely suits the current situation and the scenario. So, Vinita Melwani has a question. During your quarantine, Leena, were you able to laugh with yourself?
Absolutely. So when Vinita, when I was in quarantine, instead of watching serious shows or drama or anything like that, I actually watched humorous shows. So there's a show in Australia called Monk, and it is hilarious. And that's what I watched. I made sure that I watched something humorous in the night instead of something that was dramatic or scary or a thriller or anything like that.
Lina, you made me think when you said that no one can tickle themselves. I absolutely never really thought about that.
So that's one theory, the violation benign theory. Then there's a relief theory, which says that
Okay.
humor is a means to reduce psychological tension, like with the COVID jokes, right? So I was watching a hospital drama sitcom where people were all making fun of their own cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
the lead doctor in this gets cancer. And when he's asked, after his radiation treatment, how was your radiation treatment? He responds with, just like a relaxing vacation at Chernobyl. So, so this is the theory that says, when we laugh at something when it's serious, it makes it less feel less threatening. So then there's a superiority theory that
Mm-hmm.
when we laugh at inferior jokes about somebody else, it happens because we feel a joy at feeling superior to them.
This is perhaps why Donald Trump was the butt of all jokes. There has been no political figure in history that has been the butt of so many jokes as Donald Trump, as though laughing at Donald Trump made him less frightening somehow.
Yep, absolutely. So, in fact, when Trump lost, one of my first thoughts after saying thank you, universe, was thinking how much material comedians would lose on account of his loss of the presidency. So not only did he lose, but comedians lost all their material. I think people use humor against Trump. One is the superiority theory, but the second is as a tool to protest. That how else do you protest at what he's doing? So then you've got one more theory, which is called the incongruity theory, which
Mm-hmm.
states that humor happens at the moment of realization that our
Yes.
expectation and a concept doesn't match. So to answer your question about a joke formula, one of the things that I did read about is that many sitcoms, comedy sitcoms, use canned laughter. So it's kind of pre-recorded laugh tracks at the back, and these actually trick your brain into thinking jokes are
Yes.
funnier than they actually are.
Absolutely. Lina, how can jokes be funnier than they are? Or they are actually?
So there's a study done by the University of London, and let me give you a couple of examples of the jokes that they studied. And before I tell you this, understand science says that there's a very strong positive relationship between understanding, humor, and intelligence.
Mm-hmm. So if I don't get the joke's on me, Lina.
So let's see how intelligent you are. So I win either way. If you get the joke, great. If you don't get the joke, great. So here goes. One of the jokes with canned laughter, people found it really funny. Understand we don't have canned laughter, so you may not find it as funny. What American state has the smallest drinks?
What American state has the smallest drinks? You go for it.
Minnesota. Here is another one. What does a dinosaur use to pay the bills?
Tell us, Lina.
Tyrannosaurus checks.
Oh.
Well, instead of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, if you, I know these jokes are pretty corny, but
Mhm.
if what the research found is that these jokes became much funnier for people when there were laugh tracks included in the response.
So, laugh tracks, which is fake laughter, actually fools the brain into thinking something is funnier than it actually is. People must differ in their perception of jokes. I guess there would be some cultural differences to telling of jokes and the perception of jokes, Lena.
Yes, different people, their upbringing, the cultural context that they grow up in, all of this will matter a lot in what they find funny. I took my dad to a Russell Peters show,
Mhm.
and he didn't find it funny at all. I barely got a chuckle out of him. And you have to understand that most of Russell Peters' jokes are based around making fun of Indians and
Mhm.
their sex jokes. And Dad grew up in a different cultural context, and he didn't find him funny at all.
Oh, wow. So, Lina, let me summarize the types of jokes. Type number one, jokes that make you feel superior to others. The type two joke is jokes that reduce the emotional impact of difficult situations. And the third type that we discussed was jokes that surprise you with something that's inappropriate and out of place. So, these are the three
Absolutely.
types of jokes. So, apart from upbringing and cultural differences, do people from different countries react to jokes differently?
So it's found that people from Britain, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand, they prefer jokes that involve wordplay, like
Okay.
puns or I'll tell you one of the jokes. So a patient says to his doctor, "I've got a strawberry stuck up my bum." And the doctor says, "I've got some cream for that."
And what about the Americans, Lina?
The Americans and Canadians like jokes with a sense of superiority, either because, it makes a person look stupid or, something like that.
No wonder Donald Trump provided so much joke content to the country and to the whole world, rather, Lina. So, Lina, what is the fastest way to get Trump to change a light bulb?
You tell me, Agnella Rajesh.
Tell him Obama installed it.
So here's another one from the Americans. So a Texan asks, "Where are you from?" And the Harvard graduate says, "I come from a place where we do not end our sentences with a preposition." The Texan says, "Okay, so where are you from, idiot?"
And what about Europe, Lina?
European countries enjoy jokes that are not congruent with our mapping of the world. So let me tell you one. So an Alsatian went to a telegram office and he goes,
Okay.
"Woof, woof, 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 woof." The clerk looked at the paper and he told the dog, "There are only 9 words here. You could send another woof for the same price." And then the dog replies, "But that would then make no sense at all."
And let me come to the most important question that's for us, that what about India, Lina?
So a lot of research says that India actually has a poorly developed sense of humor, at least publicly. Because Indians are generally sensitive, have deep fundamental beliefs, that if laughed at kind of deeply offends. But I was specifically trying to research Tamilian humor because I got a lot of friends from down south, and I find that comedy runs very deep there. So I was watching a Tamil movie with subtitles. This is probably the one joke that's really remained with me for a very long time. And it's not really funny, but it is. So there's this one scene where a patient goes to a doctor and shows him his foot, and he's got a nail stuck in his foot. And he goes, "Doctor, I was fixing my house, and now I have a nail in my foot. What should I do?" The doctor says, "Hang a calendar on it." I still find it hilarious.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. So, Lina, children laugh so many times a day, and yet I rarely see children laughing in their classrooms. Wouldn't our businesses and families and classrooms benefit from more laughter?
Absolutely. And Divya asked this earlier on. From a neurological perspective, laughter is an activity that sort of sets neurons firing off in virtually all areas of our brain. So it's obviously very, very good for us. Humor gets people to listen in classrooms, in business environments, and in families. And bottom line is, laughter aids retention and learning. So why wouldn't we use more of it? There's a Ohio University that sort of found that it enhances students' participation and
Okay.
interest and activates a child's brain activity. So it's a powerful tool that all the teachers on the group can use, to enhance classroom cohesiveness in businesses, organizational culture. The studies show that the more fun we have in the classroom or at work, actually, the more productive we are.
Is this possibly why TED Talks are so infused with humor, Lina?
Absolutely. So the most viewed TED Talk is by Sir Ken Robinson, and it has more than one joke every minute.
Wow.
And laughter, doing it, observing it, it just kind of activates multiple regions of the brain. The motor cortex, which controls our muscles, the frontal lobe, which helps you understand concepts and content, and the limbic system, which kind of regulates positive emotions. So why would we not want to turn all these circuits on
Mhm.
in our brain and in our bodies, and do great stuff? Also, one of the findings is that when we laugh, we actually release less of stress hormone, cortisol. And cortisol, we all know, damages our brain, and it can have negative effects on memory,
Mhm.
retention, learning, and laughter negates that. You recall, Agnan Rajesh, we did one moonshot conversation on future skills.
Absolutely. I absolutely remember that, Lina. So are you going to say that humor is a future skill?
Well, what I will tell you is that technology is not able to create good humor.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence can create a lot of things, but has not been able to replicate good humor so far. So, human intelligence is the one that's capable of creating and interpreting humor, in a way that computer programs are not. So, with technology coming in more and more, let's all hold on to comedy. Also, when we remember that the neurotransmitters that are released when we laugh,
Mhm.
dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, all of these work together to improve our brain capability, our mood, our creativity, our mental alertness, focus. So why wouldn't we use laughing to open up learning centers of the brain and enable and sustain greater neural connections? As a result, we'll become more flexible
Mhm.
and creative and better at
Mhm.
solving problems, all future skills.
Absolutely. So you can change your brain one laugh at a time. So obviously, higher intelligence correlates with higher humor, and higher humor with higher intelligence.
Absolutely. So science says that women are more attracted to partners with a good sense of humor. And
Mhm.
one researcher theorizes that this has to do with the fact that humor is an indication of higher intelligence. So, since these are inheritable traits, women may be predisposed to seeking out partners with humor as a quality so that she can pass them on to her offspring.
Fantastic. So good enough for me to go, go out and get my humor groove on, Lina. How could us teaching children to grow up and keep laughing and teach humor in schools benefit our students and the world at large, Lina?
So when we know humor decreases aggression and stress, and it promotes cooperation and fairness between people. This is what we want more of in this world. Humor and playful emotions are contagious, and then can be used to diffuse social tension, religious tension, between people, religions, countries. Shared laughter is one of the most effective tools that we know of for keeping relationships strongly bonded. Laughter improves our emotional well-being, positive effect and optimism. So imagine more people roaming around, and all of them roaming around with more emotional well-being. You know, it's just going to make this world a calmer, happier place. So let's test our corroboree's intelligence with a riddle.
Ab- Absolutely.
So,
So
uh,
let's try one.
okay, so seeing it's a good exercise for the brain. What are two things you cannot eat for breakfast?
So that question is for all of you, my friends. Even I will try to answer it, but I'll give you the opportunity first. If anybody can answer that question, what are the two things you cannot eat for breakfast? People are still figuring it out. Can I?
Lunch. Oh, okay. Lunch and dinner.
Okay, that's awesome. So, what are the two things you cannot eat for breakfast? And it's lunch and dinner. Thank you so much, Lina. That was a very interesting one. I will send you a laughing emoji, Lina, for that answer of yours.
So it's amazing, just like, pre-recorded laughter, canned laughter, an emoji and these gifs that we use also affect our brain's perception of how funny something is. So if you post a joke with, like, the emoji where the guy's crying because he's laughed so much, it's going to actually affect your understanding of the text joke. So, scientists are studying the emoji aspect of non-verbal but potent communication, because your brain is decoding the emoji as much as it is the textual joke.
Absolutely. Technology is really transforming the way we talk to each other, Lina.
Yeah. And I really do feel grateful for technology, especially these last 14 days, because, it allowed me not just to hear voices when communicating with people, but what I know makes me feel so different is being able to see people's faces, their smiles, and hearing their laughter and seeing them laugh. So if communication was still only voice, then only the left side of my brain would feel activated. But to feel a strong sense of emotional connection, when I see people smiling and see their faces laughing, and not just hear them laughing, it actually makes me feel emotionally well.
Fantastic, Lina. As usual, we have already crossed the time limits. But before I conclude the show, I would like to read the comments made by Divya Punjabi, where she says that it is one of habits of mine, finding humor, laugh at myself, finding humor, laugh at myself, and look for whimsical and unexpected in life. So that's a comment from Divya. Deepa Bhushan has also answered your question, Lina. She also mentioned lunch and dinner, and even Dharna Kapoor Vij answered your question. She also texted lunch and dinner. So who's the young guy?
This is my favorite boy in the world. His name is Aaron. He's my love.
Oh, awesome.
So
Lovely to meet you, young man.
So next week,
where to next, Lina?
So Anubhav Pal, an Indian stand-up comedian, screenwriter, playwright, and novelist, will be in conversation with a friend of mine who's extremely witty, Fahad Samar, who is the best-selling author of Scandal Point and a producer of many films and TV shows. And also he's acted in Amazon's 4 More Shots, Please.
Oh, lovely. So we look forward to joining the show with Lina and 2 of our guests and all the audience together. Not forgetting to comment, to share this content, and also to ask as many questions as possible. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Happy Easter once again. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.